Why many software engineers build things that nobody wants and what to do instead. So this video is specifically for software engineers with at least one failed side project or SaaS, developers who are just in general frustrated that their technical skills are not making them any money outside of a 9-to-5, anyone who's been told to just build something and did and it pretty much went nowhere, and software engineers watching AI eat their industry in real time and wonder what the heck is going to happen next. In this specific video, we are going to go through every single one of these problems. First and foremost, we're going to discuss why the model you've been following is the wrong one and why it's not your fault. We're going to discuss why SaaS specifically is becoming the wrong vehicle for the opportunity that you're actually chasing. We're going to be discussing what the real opportunity is right now in 2026 as a software engineer and why engineers like you are uniquely positioned to actually take it. And we're going to talk about one concrete shift in direction that you can start making immediately to start seeing results. So let's get straight into it. Now, first, we have to understand what the problem even is, right? Why do software engineers build things that nobody actually wants? And the problem stems from the year 1848 by this person named Sam Brannan. Now, Brannan in 1848 began running through the streets of San Francisco screaming that gold was found at Sutter's Mill. Keep in mind, Brannan is not a miner, and he's the only store owner between San Francisco and the gold fields. Before anybody knew what was coming, he bought up every single pickaxe, pan, and shovel in the entire region. And 9 weeks later, he became the wealthiest man in California. And he never once set foot in an actual mine. Now, what actually ended up happening? Because this was during the gold rush. Well, most of the actual miners who went to mine for gold ended up becoming broke. They starved in the mountains, drowned in river claims, came home with less than they left. And the story that everybody gets told about is, of course, the gold. But nobody ever talks about what happened to the miners. Nobody ever talks about the shovels. Nobody ever talks about the person who sold the pickaxe. And he was the one that became the richest man in California, not those who actually mined the gold. So this story here that happened in real life is to tell you a little bit about the problem with software and the problem with all the content out there regarding software. Most individuals that you see are, in essence, Brannan. Not saying that they're evil, not saying that whatever they're saying is not necessarily true, but rather most individuals who have success with a SaaS, it usually come from a place of distribution already having built. Some of the most popular indie hackers, some of the most popular voices in the SaaS space have monetized their own audience with a profitable SaaS. Don't believe me? Go take a look at where most of their money is coming from when it comes to a SaaS. It's usually monetized on their own audience, meaning they had distribution. But nobody ever talks about that distribution. That is the most important aspect here. Nobody ever talks about the fact that the guy screaming about the opportunity already had cornered the entire supply chain before anybody actually showed up to the dig, the gold side, okay? And this is happening in real life because this is pretty much yourself as well as every other developer, myself included, back in the day, right? Our default playbook is as follows. We'll see something online in the hacker forum, right? Something on X, something about a SaaS being scaled and then exited. And we'll decide, okay, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come up with an idea. We're going to pick a stack. We're going to build the thing. We're going to launch it, maybe on Product Hunt, maybe Reddit marketing. And we're going to hope that people are going to come because we've always heard that a good product sells itself. And then fast forward a few months, $0 are made. Then we blame the idea and say, okay, maybe the idea was wrong. But what actually happens in over 80% of cases is not that the idea is necessarily wrong. It's that the order that you went about things was completely incorrect. And engineers fall into this specifically because your entire career has pretty much rewarded you for just building and obeying information through Jira tickets. Building to you feels measurable, it feels safe, it's rejection proof. However, selling, now that gets you personal rejection, ambiguous feedback, and exposes your ego. A piece of software cannot tell you that you're not good enough, but a cold email, a cold call, or a conversation with another person can if you get rejected. So a lot of individuals, they delay this process of selling or customer acquisition, as we call it, by saying things like, I just need to finish the flow first. I need to start talking to customers once the MVP is actually solid. I need a proper onboarding before I show this to anyone. And building ends up feeling like progress, and selling feels like the risk. But the deeper problem is this. Even when engineers break out of this build trap, most of them are still building the wrong thing entirely. The model itself is broken in 2026, and that model is SaaS. Now, who am I and what am I talking about this? What do I know about it, right? Well, let me explain a little bit about who I am. My name is Bago. I've been in tech for already over a decade, started in 2016 as a robotics engineer. Went on into UCLA to study the human consciousness as part of the Elegant Mind Club. Then went into NASA as a computer engineering intern, and then went into the Fortune 500 as a software engineering consultant. My first ever six-figure paycheck was about $120,000, $125,000 total compensation. In 3 years' time, I actually got promoted to a manager, software engineering manager, and I was making $250,000 a year. Why do I say that? Well, that's because I've seen the 9-to-5 side, right? I've worked in tech, I saw the ceiling, I even had it, and I saw how the value I created flowed to other people's bank accounts. I remember being billed out for $1,850 an hour on a project that I was getting less than 10% of that for. I remember building features that actually generated money for the company that I was building it for, and I kept getting a fraction of it back in my salary. And I watched countless less technical people make more money than me because they understood distribution and positioning. After being exposed to the 9-to-5, I made a vow that I'm going to quit and I'm going to try to do things on my own because I cannot tolerate the unfairness. And thus, I founded AB Analytics, a B2B AI consulting firm. In the last month alone, from February 15th to March 15th, we've done a little over $600,000 in revenue. Keep in mind, this is revenue, not profit. But I also say this not to flex, but to showcase to you the business side of things, okay? I built my own business from scratch, and I did it by not building a product first. Actually, let me take that back. I did build multiple products. They all failed. So I built this as my first sort of successful thing. And I had to unlearn a lot of things. Pretty much almost everything that made me good at my job to become good at my business. And the transition was very difficult. It was uncomfortable, it was painful, and it was non-obvious. And understanding the difficulty of the journey, I decided I'm going to pass this on to other software engineers who are in the same position as me. And thus the creation of Code to CEO came to be and this YouTube channel. And this is exactly what I've seen. I've worked with hundreds of software engineers to date going through this exact transition. I've seen the ones who succeed and the ones who don't. And the difference is almost never about technical skill because they all have that. The difference is almost always the model they choose and how quickly they abandoned the wrong idea or model. And the results are as follows. I've worked with engineers who went from $0 to, let's say, their first paid client in about 47 days. I've worked with people who went from $100,000 salary caps to making over $20,000 a month. I've worked with people who were able to make more in 1 month than they used to make in an entire quarter. And all of them had failed side projects before, so their skills were not necessarily the main issue. And the point I'm trying to make here is I've been on both sides of this, both the employee as well as the employer as well as the coach. I've helped others get from one side to the other, and the one thing that I keep seeing is the same mistake, which is almost always in the model and not the execution, okay? And you can see some of the results that a lot of the founders in Code to CEO have been able to achieve. I'm not going to go through them. You can pause and watch it if you want. Now, let's talk about the market shift in 2026 and why this video is even being made in the first place. I'm sure some of you might already be familiar with this, but SaaS is becoming increasingly commoditized, okay? And the pricing is beginning to change. So this race to the bottom pretty much started happening since November 30th, 2022 when ChatGPT came out, but now it's been getting even worse. Every vertical has about 5 to 10 SaaS tools competing on price. And churn is through the roof and switching costs have become extremely low. You'll see this with all the Y Combinator startups that are starting out. On average, the LTV for SaaS has been decreasing as time has went on. Furthermore, VC-backed competitors will pretty much begin to undercut you until you die, especially if you try to compete with them on the same enough level. And the SaaS mode that used to exist simply is gone now. And AI actually did this in part because AI can now do in hours what used to take months to build, right? Cloud Code, Cursor, Copilot, all these tools, they're beginning to be updated and they aren't just for devs anymore. You'll see a lot of non-technical people try to use them and they get decent enough results from them. And now what you pretty much have is a competent engineer can build in a weekend what would have taken a team maybe a few months in a bare minimum to do. So this means that not only can your competitor do this, but also your potential customers can do the same exact thing. And you see this shift happening in real time. The old model was pretty much, okay, I'm going to build one SaaS, I'm going to sell it to thousands of customers, and I'm going to scale it. To get to that one SaaS, I'll maybe try building 20 or 50 or 100 because I know for a fact, as long as I keep building them, I will eventually hit the jackpot, right? This was the old model. This was what a lot of the indie devs kept talking about, and this is what a lot of the people pushed essentially in their message. But the new model is as follows. Most businesses don't want another subscription that they share with a competitor anymore. They want something that's actually theirs, something that fits their workflow, their data, and their team, and something that their competitor does not necessarily have access to. So the question that smart businesses are now asking is, why would I pay $500 a month for a generic tool where I can have something custom built for my business for a fraction of what it used to cost? In fact, one of our existing clients for AB Analytics literally decided to take matters into his own hands and custom coded his own CRM using Replit. He told us after the fact about 3 months in, spent over $4,000 in AI credits, but pretty much built his own CRM because he was tired of using HubSpot. This is just one particular example of how business owners are taking things into their own hands. So the key point is as follows. The market is shifting from a generic SaaS to more of a customized solution. AI, since it makes the custom development 10 times faster and 10 times cheaper, it's now becoming more and more apparent for business owners. And the window where you can position yourself as a software engineer in front of this shift is right now. There's no better time than now. And engineers are once again the only people who can actually deliver this. Because while non-technical people can try to replicate this, they are going to be far worse than you when it comes to actual fulfillment. So what is a new opportunity? Well, for us to understand the new opportunity, we're going to have to refer to this specific diagram. You might have seen this before or not, but let me just explain what this is about. Each dot here represents 3.2 million people across the world. So 8.1 billion across the world. You'll see this one small little red dot, right? And that is essentially you and I. We use coding we use AI to build stuff, right? So we're part of 0.04% of the population. You'll have the quote-unquote AI normies in this portion over here, where they pay $20 a month for AI. Now, most of you might know a few people in this category. And then you have a decent chunk of people who are free chatbot users, so specifically 1.3 billion people, 16%. And you have an overwhelming majority of people, 84% of the world's population, that has never used AI. Think about how crazy that is. And this is as recent as of February 2026. What this should tell you is you're all in one big bubble. You're all tunnel vision into AI. If you step out into the real world, you begin to understand that if somebody is non-technical, they most likely have no clue what AI is in the first place. So this is what the actual opportunity is, okay? The question to ask, instead of what should I build, the question you need to ask is which businesses near me are about to need someone they trust to help them with AI? And a prerequisite to that question is businesses near me, are they even aware of AI in the first place, right? Do I need to educate them first, beforehand? So what's happening right now is essentially businesses are experiencing a couple things. Number one, AI is changing everything and they know it. They know 10 to 15 years down the line, they have to adapt to AI or they are going to become obsolete. But they don't quite know what to do with it. They've been pitched by a lot of non-technical AI agencies before. They've gotten burnt from it, so they don't trust random software vendors anymore. But they do trust people in their community, in their network, and people who truly understand their problem or their industry. And they're actively looking for somebody to help guide this transition. And this is the existing shovel moment, okay? Everybody is rushing towards the gold, which are the AI products, AI agencies, but nobody is positioning themselves to be able to sell the shovels, which is trusted AI implementation and consultations. The businesses in this case are the miners because they need the picks and the pans, and there's over 33 million of them just in the United States alone. And you can be brought on, right? You can be the person that connects the two together. So what the opportunity is as follows. I call it the local celebrity advisor model. Okay, this is what it looks like. You become the known AI guy or girl in your local area, okay? Your particular industry niche or your professional network. Businesses come to you because they've seen you show up, you've helped them, and you speak their language from a perspective of you are able to connect the non-technical to the technical. You can build custom AI solutions for them, not specifically a software that they share with everybody else, but something built specifically for their operation. And each segment of your customer base is going to give you significant revenue. Bare minimum, at least in the United States alone, your projects will be worth at least $10,000, upwards of over $50K, upwards of over $100K. And you're not going to be competing on price with other SaaS companies. And here's why engineers are so uniquely positioned to do this. You can actually build the thing that I'm talking about. Most consultants will not be able to build the thing. You can speak technically to understand the real problem, and you're able to connect the non-technical to the technical as long as you understand the proper communication skills to be able to do so. And AI tools have compressed the build time, which used to take months, now will take days. So if you're familiar with Cloud Code and these tools, the fulfillment process is going to be even easier for you. And the trust gap between some software company and a person I know and respect is actually quite huge. Somebody being pitched to via cold email by an AI agency located in, let's say, somewhere in India, versus you going in person and actually talking to people, the trust there is massive, okay? You are going to win 99 out of 100 times there. So this is what local celebrity actually means. And I've done this alongside every other founder inside Code to CEO. You're not necessarily going to become famous where everybody's going to swarm you when you come outside, but you are going to be known. You're going to be known by, let's say, 50 to 200 businesses at the bare minimum in a very specific city, okay, or particular problem or niche. You're going to show up at your local Chamber of Commerce events. You're going to show up at other BNI events, local business events, other industry groups, and you're going to create content that speaks directly to their problems. Now, you're going to do this in unison. You're going to go to the in-person events, talk with people, and as things start picking up pace, you're going to be creating content directly to your audience. So you're going to become the person that everybody thinks of when they hear AI. Referrals are going to be your primary growth mechanism initially, starting off, until you begin forming content and then start getting an inbound engine going. Keep in mind, this plan is for the next 3 to 5 year range. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is something that you need to start, put in a lot of energy into, but 3 to 5 years from now, you will be financially free. And the goal isn't going to be to become viral on YouTube, okay? It's being the person that 10 business owners in your city are going to call when they need any type of help with AI. I use AI here pretty lax, but think of anything really technology related, anything software related. So let's compare the old model to the new one that I'm discussing. Pretty much with the old model and what most current engineers do is they build a SaaS product, they hope people find it because they've heard, oh, good product sells itself. They compete on features with 10 other SaaS tools because it's extremely easy to copy your SaaS product now with AI. And they race to the bottom on pricing, if they get lucky. Most of the time, they're going to make zero money, they're going to burn out, and then they're going to move on to the next idea and keep wondering why they keep failing. The new model, what actually works now, what I have done for the past 3.5 years and I'm going to continue doing, and what other founders inside Code to CEO are currently doing and seeing insane results, is as follows. You identify a painful business problem, you have a conversation with the decision makers, you propose a custom solution, you price on value and not time, you begin to make minimum $5,000 to $50,000 per engagement, you get a referral to your next client, your local reputation compounds over time, you get more and more and more people, and once you have a fundamental understanding of the problem at hand, if you want to, you can then move on to a SaaS. So I'm not an anti-SaaS guy. I'm an anti-SaaS guy when it comes to your first venture. There's a lot smarter ways to approaching to a SaaS such that you will have the proper hands to deal with it. And one of the best ways of doing so is becoming this local celebrity, okay? If you build up your reputation, you get cash flowing, you already have everything in place, the foundation there, and you've faced this problem so many times, you know it off the top of your head, right? you're going to be able to create a proper SaaS out of it down the line if you want to exit it for something later. But for most of you, you're not even going to get to that point. You're not even going to want to get to that point because you're already going to be making so much money from this, the local celebrity, right? So this kind of requires a shift in identity as well. So you're going to go from a developer who just builds products to the trusted AI advisor who solves business problems. You're going to go from somebody who maybe competes globally on features to trusted locally because of relationships. You're going to go from somebody who builds then finds customers to somebody who finds customers then builds exactly what they need. And you're going to go from somebody that sells subscriptions to somebody that sells transformations and outcomes. Now, you might be wondering, okay, Bigo, this is good enough. This sounds really good on paper. Logically, it makes sense. But how do I actually go about it? How do I start? Well, this is what you have to do. Step one, you need to pick your geography and your problem. So obviously, it's going to be local to you, your city, right? Analyze your network, your industry contacts, or target a specific vertical that you already know or somebody in your network is part of. Healthcare, legal, construction, restaurants, manufacturing, whatever the case. The tighter the problem, the faster you can become the go-to person. Number two, you want to show up where these individuals are. Chamber of Commerce events for your local city, BNI groups, Business Network International, other local business events, and of course, industry meetups. You want to create LinkedIn and Facebook content aimed at the business owners specifically, not other software engineers, and you want to offer to speak at events about AI. You want to go to your local Chamber of Commerce, maybe after a few events, say, I want to speak about AI, what it can do, and slowly become an authority. Because the bar for being the most knowledgeable person in the room is lower than you might think. Because as seen, 86% of people have never used AI before. And chances are, with you competing on a local level, there's not going to be another software engineer that is going to pretty much be able to compete with you. Because let alone, no software engineers actually go out and do this. Very few people who are going to watch this video are going to go out and do it. Another thing that's pretty recent is you're going to want to apply to become a cloud community ambassador, okay? You can become a Cursor ambassador as well, but you want to go ahead and begin hosting free meetups for primarily a B2B audience. Right now, most people are targeting other developers. You want to target other business owners, specifically those who are not even aware of what AI can do, and help them understand what it can actually do. Naturally, you will also become the go-to person once they want to do something with you. You want to start with conversations and not products. Talk to, let's say, 10 business owners, not to sell them, but to understand their problem. Ask, what's the biggest problem you guys are facing right now? Ask them, have you tried solving it, and if so, how? And ask them, what would this worth, and ask them, what would this be worth right now to you? You're gonna hear the same 3 to 5 problems throughout, and those are what you're gonna build for, and only after somebody actually says yes to you. Then you're gonna price based on a problem and not your time. If manual invoicing, let's say, costs a business $5,000 a month in labor, a $15,000 custom solution is going to be pretty cheap because they're saving $60K a year. You are not going to price on your hours. You are going to price the outcome that you're getting them, okay? And remember, custom is going to be generic every single time, so price accordingly. And last but not least, let the work speak for itself. Your first client is going to become a case study. You can put that on social media by creating content around it. It's going to become social proof for you. Social proof is going to allow other people to trust you more, which is going to create referrals, and then other referrals are going to bring in even more people, and it's going to create a flywheel. And this is what I'm going to call the brand ad move. So don't rush towards the gold, building AI products that everybody else is building or joining the AI agency craze. You want to find the diggers, so the business is about to invest heavily into AI, right? Sell them the shovels, trusted custom implementation that they can't get anywhere else, and you want to corner the supply chain before the market figures out what's actually happening and before more developers start getting into this. And I want you to understand the core reframe of what we're doing here and why we're the only ones who can actually do this. You are not a developer looking for a product to build. You are an entrepreneur who can build anything, which means that building is going to be the last step and not the first. So the question was never about what should I build? The question is, who has a painful enough problem that I can solve right now and that they will pay me to solve it, okay? Now, keep in mind, SaaS commoditization is actually accelerating. AI is compressing build time to near zero now. Businesses are actively looking for trusted advisor because they have been burned by so many other AI agencies. And since 86% of people have never used AI, that number is going to incrementally go down as more people become educated with AI. So by hosting the events, by speaking at these events, you are not only educating them, but you're also making yourself be the authority in the space. In the next 12 to 18 months, if you do this diligently, you are going to own the local authority position that is going to compound for years. Every single one of you If you do this on a local enough basis, in the next 3 to 5 years, you will 100% guarantee yourself generational income. And you will have so much credibility to your name that there will be nobody else that will be able to compete with you on the same exact level because you are getting started at the prime time. I did this in 2022, and let me tell you, this was the best decision of my life. I'm only going to get bigger and stronger here in LA. Are there other competitors? Sure, but it doesn't really matter. The pie is big enough for all of us to eat, okay? All of you watching this, doesn't matter even if you're located in a small city, only 100,000 people, 50,000 people, you can still do this. Technically even better because there's not going to be another developer trying to do it. And the engineers who actually wait, who watch this video, don't act on it, you're going to find that the position is going to be taken in like 3 to 5 year range, okay? Highly recommend you start now, even if it's something small, such as joining your Chamber of Commerce, introducing yourself as an authority in AI, and helping people and educating people on how to go about it. Now, if you enjoyed the video, I'm actually hosting a free live workshop on client acquisition as a software engineer. Essentially, your next step in how you can get started with exactly what we just talked about. If you built stuff before, but you weren't able to get clients, in this workshop on March 29th, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to discuss in 2 hours exactly how you can go about that. And the workshop is going to give you a step-by-step system to identify high-value buyers, build the right offer, and create a consistent pipeline that is going to feed your business month to month. Head to workshop.codeceo.com. It's going to be in the description as well as the pinned comment. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good one.